Hi, my name is Edward Yao. I am general manager and partner at Yaos in Oviedo.
My name is George Yao. I'm the executive chef, partner here at Yaos.
Yaos is a modern Chinese fusion kitchen in the heart of Oviedo.
When we were growing up, we always ate Chinese food, but it was a version of Chinese food of what ingredient that we can get or that we can buy. So things were always non-traditional, but traditional to us and our family.
Our food reflects our journey. My brother, my sister, and I being first generation Chinese Americans. My brother was born in New York. My sister was born in Shanghai. Myself, I was born in Florida.
The recipes here are all within, myself, my brother, my sibling, my sister, who's also in this venture with us as well too.
So it's a melting pot of all those flavors.
The food kind of evolves and becomes almost its own genre, I guess you would say, or own style, Yes, root of it Chinese, root of it American Chinese, but every recipe that's within the menu is a little bit nuanced.
So the food at Yaos is a nice combination of our family recipes and some not so Chinese recipes that we've picked up on the way.
Yaos is a Chinese restaurant, but I don't want to call it authentic. It's authentic to us, to me, to my siblings, to my family. But maybe to the general population, maybe, their perception of Chinese food might be a little bit different.
My brother, he has worked in French and Spanish kitchens, so there's a lot of that influence in it.
My experience is working in Central Florida, Spanish ingredients, Caribbean ingredients, but then influencing all of the recipes that's within this restaurant.
We have some more classic American Chinese dishes, and then some dishes that we could be a little bit more creative with. It's a nice balance of homey comfort food that you're familiar with and some things that you haven't tried yet. So, nice combination of all the two parties.
Every moment, I would say, in my career, in my journey, there's always been cooks, prep cooks, chefs that have influenced every part of the recipes, I guess you would say, that has really resonated. So Yaos is a culmination of that. I know that sounds like it's a lot of words, but in my head, that's how I see this restaurant. I want people to experience something different that's not your traditional restaurant.
We think that good food is pretty simple. You just have to use quality ingredients, keep it as fresh as possible, and then have intention when creating flavors.
For example, our beef and broccoli cavatelli. It actually came about with one of our sous chefs here, Chef Joe. His Italian background. Obviously, we're a Chinese restaurant, so it was a culmination of stir-fried beef and broccoli. How can we make a dish that's kind of unifies two cultures? And that's when we started making fresh cavatelli pasta. And now it's walked in the same way that you would do in a traditional Chinese restaurant. So with some of the dishes on our menu, like our dumplings, our D's dumplings, which is actually my sister's recipe. The folds are actually hers as well too. And our chili wontons. Those are all made in-house. Our filling, we fold them constantly. So there's a lot of love that goes behind this, I'm really proud about some of the dishes, like our vegan and vegetarian options. We pride ourselves with a lot of vegetables on our menu. Our stir-fry, our wok roasted cabbage, our stir-fry kai long, our eggplant that we also serve. A lot of times, vegetarian dishes, vegan dishes are usually kind of put on the back burner, if we have one, it's just because, so-and-so will come in. But no, we really wanted to highlight those vegetables, just because growing up, vegetables was always a big part of our diet. Every meal, there was always some kind of green leafy vegetable, so we wanted to highlight that. We do a 28-day wet-aged prime ribeye. It's our Mongolian beef. Traditional Mongolian beef at a Chinese restaurant is a stir-fry sweet dish. But what I wanted to do is highlight a little bit different. Working in a high-end steakhouse, I've always enjoyed whole-cut meats. So what we do is we bring in the whole loin of ribeye. We'll trim, we'll portion, and it's 30 ounces, so it's quite large. It's meant to be shared. So we finish it right on the hot grill, 700 degrees, blazing hot. We want that heat to be violent and intense. And then we brush it with a house-made umami butter. We season it with salt and pepper, very neutral, very clean flavors. And then we finish it in the oven to your desired temperature. And then it's served on the side of a wok stir-fried cabbage and a bowl of white rice. The reason why we have that set is because that's one of my favorite meals, is eating some kind of beef dish and then some kind of vegetable with white rice. I know it sounds kind of strange, but instead of baked potatoes, I like white rice. Our Shanghai sticky ribs, I would say, is one of our most popular dishes, but not a lot of guests know that it actually takes 2 days to make. We clean the ribs, we braise them for 3.5 hours. And then what we do is we cool them within the braising liquid. So this way all of the juices and all the flavor soaks right back into the ribs. And then we cut them the next day once they're cold. So this way all the flavor gets locked in. Those are the recipes that I would say we're talking about. Blending of two different cultures, but making it feel as one.
The concept of Yaos has been long in the making, maybe since when we were first little children running around in our parents' and grandparents' kitchens.
Our livelihood has always been around food. Same thing with my grandparents, who owned the first Chinese restaurant in Jamestown, New York, to owning another restaurant down here in the early 90s. So our whole childhood has been around restaurants.
At first it was kind of a joke, a little family fantasy, right? On who would run what positions, etc. And then as we got older, we realized that we wanted to pursue this dream, not just for ourselves, but in homage to our grandparents and our parents.
So I think the kind of responsibility of our last name, Yaos, with myself, my brother, my sister, it's almost like this duty where we should make something of ourselves and not waste the opportunity that my grandfather and my grandparents took coming all the way to this country. We don't want to waste that opportunity. So I would say Yaos, of course, is our last name, but behind that, I would say it's like the foundation of our family, from going generations back to our grandparents. So I would say that's what Yaos means to me.